Hi, I'm Angie from Crafts at Home. Welcome back to this video series about quilting, where I'm going to be featuring the art of quilting from Hash Shape Artworks. Hopefully you'll have already completed the double four patch from issue 1 and have it stored ready for future use. With this second issue you'll receive the white on white spot, pink on white spot and paisley fabrics to make the whirlwind block. Again, you'll need to start by ironing all of your fabrics to make it easier to work with and improves the overall finish of your quilt. Let's get on to the cutting. As you can see, with the cutting layouts in the book, I've already transferred these with my pencil onto the wrong side of the fabric. I've done this so they won't be seen on the right sides at all. You'll also notice that the corners of the triangles are already cut off for you. So it cuts down on bulk when you're making your square and you don't have any tails to trim off afterwards. I'm going to cut these using the rotary cutter and the trimmer. So as before, you line up your rotary cutter with your line. You hold down, blade and guard, one nice long and off. That's the first cut. Then you can go around your other edges and trim those off. With this one, if you've done it the same layout as myself, take your ruler on the longest edge, again guard off, cut up, making sure you match, and go on. You can then do the middle lines, take out all the corners, and then you'll have all your pieces. See you back here in a moment when I finish this. So now we're going to pin and prep the whirlwind. You need to lay out as you would in the book. The one thing I have noticed is when I marked on the other side, it's reversed the actual whirlwind from the book. So we'll follow as we are here. Making sure all the fabrics are the right side up, you take your triangle white from the corner and you fold over. So you repeat on each corner. So they're all pointing in. The one thing you've got to be careful of is this seam here is cut on the bias, so the fabric is stretchy. So you take your fabric, match the point up and pin. Then you let the fabric lie naturally and you'll see the angles there should match. And you pop back down. We'll continue this for all four and then we'll be moving on to the sewing. So now I've pieced and pinned all the pieces together, I'm going to start chain stitching. I'm going to pop it under my foot, lift the lever up slightly till I've got it in the right position, and then slowly sew all the way through. Stop with the needle down, pull the pin out, and then carry on. I'm going to stop just before the second pin and then carry on all the way to the end. So we're going to pop the next piece in now, exactly the same way. You'll notice that these will overlap slightly as they go, but it's just because of the positioning of the folds. So I'm going to sew a few stitches on, just so I can cut nicely in between. Pop the next one in, take the pin out, and then carry on sewing. Now I've got all 4 pieces done. I'm going to snip my stitch saver off and just pop that back in. Finish with the needle down and just snip your chain pieces off. I've got all 4 pieces now done. I'm going to go off and iron them. So I've gone and chain pieced all of these 4 pieces together. I'm just going to snip in between so we've got our 4 separate pieces. So now we need to iron them open. We're going to turn each one over because you need to iron to the dark side. So there's our seam. I'm going to iron on, set the seam, and then iron open. Just going to make sure that is nice and sharp down. So I'm going to carry on and do these for all 4 triangles. As I said earlier, the reason that these are cut off is so when you've opened them up, you don't get any stray corners that are coming out. So now we've got all 4 triangles done. You piece them back together. corner in corner. So the next thing we're going to do is turn these over right side to right side again. And then pin along this seam here. So you start the inner corner and pop a pin through. You go on to the middle, being careful not to stretch that edge as it's still got the bias cut on it. You make sure your seam is nicely over. Pin through. And then again, being careful not to stretch, you pin your edge. So as you can see, that is that, and that will match, so we pin this side. Again, going from the corner, doing the middle seam, taking care not to stretch the bias cut on the corner. Pop the last pin in. So I'm just going to pop and sew these together now, and I'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. So I've just sewn along my seam there. I'm going to snip those apart, and you want to make sure again that you iron away from the white and onto the pink. Just set that seam down. And iron the whole triangle open. Just want to make sure that you've got a nice, sharp, flat seam. So you can see now, if I put them together, we've just got the one final seam across there that needs sewing. So you put them together, and as we did in issue 1, you need to make sure that our centres are butted up so the seams will match. And pop a pin through. You want to make sure then from the second seam it's not pulled and flat. Pop a pin in there. Again, you can pop it so you've got your seam flat. And then to the end, being careful not to stretch the white triangle because of the bias cut. Pop a pin there. I'm going to do exactly the same with this side. I'm going to turn it over to make sure that I've got my seams pointing the right way. I'll make sure that I leave them out and I can actually see them when they're coming up in the sewing machine. And again, so you don't stretch it, pop a pin in the end. So you've now got your final seam pinned. I'm just going to take this over to the sewing machine and sew the final seam. I'll be back in a moment. Hi, welcome back. We've just stitched the final seam, but just before we move on to the ironing, there's a couple of things you need to check. First of all, as you open it, you need to double check that those points match together. As this one does, I'm going to close it back up again, and then we need to reduce the amount of fabric in this middle corner. So take some little snips, and where the seam is, you need to cut a little V notch out. Be very, very careful, and you just keep snipping until you've got your V notch, but not too deep that it'll go past the seam. You literally need about 2-3 millimeters just to get it looking flat and neat in the middle. There we go. So all we do now is need to set the seam again. So we just go over now. This one's a bit more difficult because you need to press to the dark. So where you've got your green there, you press that one that way. And you need to turn it over. Set your seam there and press in that direction, so your seams will actually go the opposite way. If you turn it over, you can ease that down and just make sure that all of your seams now lie flat towards the dark, and just take some time to make sure it all lies nice and flat. When you're happy that everything is nice, just turn it over, making sure that you've just got everything lying nicely, and give it a final press. There we go, that's your second block complete. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the whirlwind block that we've created. Don't forget to subscribe to both channels so you'll be informed of further uploads. More information can be found on the social media pages which are listed in the description. Don't forget to join us next week for issue 3. See you soon.